Right.
Just in case.
Get a water.
Oh, so it's separated?
What?
We must be divided.
They soon right got married. I have the picture. My sister gave me this photo. And I just found it. The pictures you had portraits of all his bridesmaids.
Yeah.
My hair used to perm. Remember how humid that was? My hair was straight. It was red. And it was way up around here. Sue made the dress. Yeah, it is pretty.
got most of mine. I got one left to read.
You always have a package of little packets in the car.
Hey, Peg. Where's the baby?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please join me in a short time of prayer. Holy God, creator of all things sacred, we give you thanks for this special time to gather and remember and celebrate our beloved Elizabeth Desjardins. Beloved mother, friend, servant of your word, we come to remember her as we knew her here on earth, and to celebrate her continued life and legacy as she dwells with you beyond death. We give you thanks for the safe arrival of these good people who gather to remember, to laugh, to tell stories, and God willing, sing songs. Bless this time and this place. Remind us all that we are your beloved children, put here for one reason alone, to love and serve others as ourselves. May we do so in this time. Amen.
Amen.
Welcome, one and all, to this service for Liz Desjardins. Welcome to friends. Welcome to all different families, Desjardins, Lawrences, Burns. I know you're all one big conglomerate. It's so wonderful to have you all back in this space. I'm sorry it's been so long. Liz passed in February of last year, and due to everything, we haven't been able to gather. So I'm so privileged and blessed and so grateful to see all of you here today. And thank you to our church members, our faith family, and to all of you who are here to celebrate Liz. We also welcome folks who might be worshiping with us from home because it's not safe for them to be here in person. Welcome one and all. It's our hope that in this brief time together, we are able to truly celebrate, to release Liz to God's care, and to find a way of trusting that she's not very far away from any of us. There are beautiful pictures and a copy of the membership certificate that Liz and Richard received when they became members here in 1956. So if you have a chance after the service to swing by and take a look, it's just lovely to see the pictures and amazing to see the artifacts of Liz's time here. Also a certificate of appreciation for her many years, her 40 plus years serving as she stopped doing this long before I got here, but even when I got here, I knew Liz as the flower lady. So it's wonderful to see gifts of appreciation for her service here in the church. What a wonderful testament to her to see so many of you. Just so you know, Stella Hall came by here earlier to pay her respects. Stella, you may not necessarily know, but her mother was Elizabeth, who lived down the road from Liz and from all of you growing up. And she loved your mother deeply, and so she sends along her love and respects. It's amazing to come and celebrate a life that was so fully lived in this community. It's just incredible. So welcome, one and all. In a little while, we will invite folks to share memories and stories of Liz, what was meaningful to you about her. During that time, we will invite you to remove your mask and speak from your seat or from the aisle nearby. We just ask that you get some distance from anyone around you. If you didn't come together, we want to try to social distance as much as we can. If you're really feeling comfortable, you're welcome to come up here in the pulpit and speak from here as well. And during that time, you can remove your mask. The rest of the time, we are grateful to you for having your mask on at all times. If you need a restroom during this short time together, you'll find one in the building farthest across the parking lot. The building is unlocked. You simply let yourself in and aim towards the back corner where there's an exit sign. There's 2 restrooms in there, and you're welcome to help yourself to whatever you need. Welcome once again to this place. Let's enter into our worship by reading from Scripture. In your bulletin, you'll find a short Scripture reading from Hebrews chapter 11, verses 1 through 3. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Indeed, by faith our ancestors received approval. By faith we understand that the worlds were prepared by the word of God, so that what is seen was made from things that are not visible. Liz was known as the Flower Lady, and there may not be any direct connection here, but I think of her every single spring. Every single spring, there is a giant bunch of yellow flowers that just come popping up out of the ground, out of nowhere. We live right next door in the parsonage here. And so we've lived here for 5 springs. So 5 years in a row, it goes from there being just nothing but beautiful green grass out there to one day I'm walking through the kitchen and I can't help but exclaim, "The flowers are back! The flowers are back!" It's delightful. There's these little fireworks that just burst up from the ground. They're there for maybe a week, and then they're gone as quickly as they came. Every time I think of those flowers and how they pop up out of nowhere and share joy and delight and then shrink away without a trace, disappearing back into the ground until the next season, I can't help but be reminded that to be a person of faith is to hold a lot of emotions in your body and in your mind all at once. To be a person of faith is to be open to possibility, which means holding on to curiosity and mystery, suspense and surprise, delight and joy. and absolutely heartbreak and tears. All because we hold the conviction of things not seen, the things that we can't notice with our eyes, the things that we can't weigh or measure, touch or feel or smell. There are these things that bring about life as we know it. To be a person of faith is to celebrate those things, whether we can see them or not, and believe that they have an influence on our world. As people of faith in this place, we hope that death is not the end of our lives, just another chapter of an eternal journey. We trust that there is life that overcomes death. We believe, foolishly perhaps, that there is a love that holds us forever, for all eternity, when we leave this earth. We believe that there's a light that we may not always be able to see with our eyes, but somewhere out there, it continues to shine and burn through the deepest dark. And as people of faith, we trust that these things are real and active and present, whether we can see them and perceive them or not. But as human beings, it's only natural to feel connected and pulled to the things that we can touch and hear, smell, and see. I'm sure that every single one of us, when we received the news of Liz's passing, I'm sure every single one of us had those things that we grieved the loss of. The version of Liz that we won't be able to hold again or see again or hear again. For me, it was her laugh. I'm kind of deeply connected to laughter, and Liz had such a full, joyous laugh. It sticks in my mind even now. Even when she was too sick to laugh without coughing, she still laughed really fully with her whole body. And just, it's a noise that I still treasure in my mind. It can be even harder to grieve the loss of our loved ones and grieve the loss of these physical things, these touchstones, during times of crisis, like we've all endured this last year and a half. My hope is that during that time, all of us have had a chance to grieve the loss of Liz as we knew her, and hopefully start being surprised at the ways in which her presence continues to pop up in the world, even now that she's gone. The same way that those flowers in my backyard, they're always there, even though I only get to see them for about a week every year. They're always under that ground. Every time I stand in the ocean, I can't conceive of the vastness of that water. I can't imagine all the creatures and places and people that water is touching at the same time, but I am connected to those people through that water, whether I can see them or not. Anytime you go out and gaze up at a night sky, you're only able to see a fraction, a small fraction, of what's actually out there, dancing and orbiting and burning. Here's a less tasteful image. All of us have microscopic bacteria living in our guts. We have these communities of creatures living with us, and they eat what we eat, and they go where we go, and they experience our entire lives with us, and they inform the health of our body. We'll never see them, but they're always there. Friends, I believe it's the same with Liz. Her body may have passed, but her presence is still very much with us. She continues to pop up in this community, and I'm sure in all of your lives, over and over again, the same way those annual yellow flowers pop up and delight me. Liz was known as the Flower Lady because for 4 decades or more, she saw it as her duty to make sure that we had gorgeous flowers decorating our sanctuary on Sunday mornings and helping to make sure that those flowers went home with people who needed joy and delight in their lives in the week ahead. That is a legacy that she helped to foster here in this church, and that legacy of care and concern for others goes on today. And it's one of the joys we have as church to remember that it's folks like Liz who carried that tradition for a long time. Traditions that we have the honor of carrying forward still. We have faith that God has shaped this universe for renewal and redemption, which means that there is far more to this life than any of us will ever be able to perceive. So today, let us pause for a moment to celebrate Liz as we remember her, as we knew her, and who we may no longer be able to see or touch or hear as we once did, but by faith, we share the conviction that she is dwelling as one with our God in the great cloud of witnesses, and her life, her passion, her joy, and her laughter continues to live on and echo through this universe. An echo that we will hear today as we begin hearing stories and memories from her loved ones. I would like to first invite Richard, and so Richard and Lynn and Rick are all planning on speaking. The same invitation goes out to all of you. You're welcome to climb the stairs and come up and speak from here, or speak from down there by the table, whatever works best for you. So Richard, to start, we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you very much. Very, very lovely. Good morning, everyone. Get my technology in line here. Good morning and welcome. What a glorious day today is to celebrate the life of our mother, Elizabeth Desjardins. It's been over a year and a half, 570 days to be precise, since Mom passed on February 17, 2020. Since then, our entire world has been turned upside down by a pandemic. My sisters and I are thankful every day that Mom didn't have to live through that. Mom faced many challenges in her life. It would be unfair to be isolated from what made her happiest, her family. Instead, her life ended peacefully, surrounded by her children and people she loved. She said goodbye to her grandchildren on FaceTime and was relieved and happy at the end. Although delayed for so long, today is important to celebrate the life of an amazingly strong woman who, during her 88 years, weathered more than her fair share of storms with strength, perseverance, and love. When we consider a person's lifetime, we look for life-changing events that are so momentous that they change a person's trajectory, upward or downward, good or bad. I'm going to tell you the story of our mother so you can understand the intense admiration of those she touched in her lifetime. You should know that Mom was like a prize fighter. She got knocked down numerous times during her lifetime, but each time got up and continued to fight. Mom's early life was a happy one. She often spoke with great fondness of growing up in Freiburg, Maine, going to Camp Cold River, spending time with her parents, whom she loved very, very much. That happy life came crashing down when her father died suddenly and unexpectedly of a brain aneurysm when Mom was just a teenager. Her mother was away at the time tending to her own mother, and Mom was in the house alone with her father when he died. Imagine the trauma and terror she must have felt. But she and her mother picked up the pieces and persevered. Money was tight, so they had to rent out their home, and Mom attended and lived at Freiburg Academy. So at the tender age of 15, Mom lost her dad in the home she grew up in. She didn't let that stop her. She graduated from the academy and then Westbrook Junior College and took a job in Boston at Jordan Marsh. Along this upward trajectory, Mom met our father, Dick. She and Dad were fixed up on a blind date for an ROTC dance by cousin Marguerite. They were a good match from the start and were equal partners in life. Although Dad, as an engineer, might be expected to be the analytical half of the relationship, Mom held up her side pretty well. You'll understand this when I read from her college assignment entitled, Factors to Consider When Choosing a Mate. Imagine that assignment today. This assignment was carried out after the first semester in college, during which Mom had many suitors. For brevity, I'll skip the discussion around the failed candidates and go right to the part about Dad. Quoting now, in the meantime, I met someone on a blind date and have decided that he is the perfect fellow. We've been dating for 3 months, and I feel that we have made a good beginning. Perhaps we are laying the foundation for a secure and happy future. It seems unbelievable that I have met a person who, in my estimation, fulfills the requirements of an ideal mate. We feel at ease with each other, and I feel as I can confide in him. Our attitudes, ideas, and principles about such factors as politics and religion coincide. He is an understanding, respectful, considerate, patient, dependable, and trustworthy person. He appears to be emotionally mature for his age and has a pleasing disposition. He's also attending college and has a desire and initiative to get ahead professionally. This is the analytical part. Therefore, he is a good financial prospect. He is neat, clean-cut, and healthy in appearance, and we both like children. Well, as it turns out, Mom was right. She and Dad made great partners and were truly in love with each other. They got married and started a family and purchased a home in Kittery Point, the same home that Mom lived in for 60 years. Mom handled the home front, raising my sisters Susan and Lynn, while Dad worked on the shipyard building submarines to fight the Cold War. Mom was in charge of social activities, making friends in the community, and joining the church we stand in today. Dad was a devoted father to his girls and handled home renovations and maintenance. They had purchased 3 lots and planned to put a new house for themselves on the lower lot in a view of Spruce Creek, and then rent the first house. They were financially secure, happy with 2 beautiful girls, and looking forward to a 3rd child. They had plans. As she wrote when they first met, it probably all seemed unbelievable to her. Mom was 31 years old and pregnant with yours truly when Dad was lost at sea on the submarine Thresher, and for the second time, her life came crashing down around her. We all know the story of the Thresher and the impact that it's had on so many people. That event is in the news even today, as newly released documents confirm that there was no cover-up, no smoking gun. It was simply a matter of the Thresher's capabilities outpacing best practices at the time. But while those are the headlines, I find the stark humanity of this event in the small details. Mom recalled with sadness the simple act of a man driving Dad's VW Bug home from the shipyard where he parked it before setting sail. The shipyard provided Mom with a 16-page pamphlet describing Dad's benefit plan, with handwritten notes provided by the shipyard worker assigned to her case, explaining what it all meant and decisions that Mom needed to make. Can you imagine? Knocked to the mat yet again, the fighter in Mom summoned the strength needed to raise her family in the way she and Dad envisioned, exposing us kids to all the educational and cultural opportunities that help shape who we are. Mom believed in and lived the golden rule. In doing so, she provided us with a moral compass for knowing right from wrong, and a latitude to decide things for ourselves. Mom trusted us, and we trusted her, and it is these things for which we are most grateful. In closing, I want to revisit the prizefighter analogy. Despite the losses in her life, Mom considered herself a winner, and I do too. Her last years were spent happily looking forward to seeing her family, friends, and grandchildren. She would be so thrilled to meet her great-grandson, Teddy, who's here today with us. And I know that she's up there looking down, knowing that through it all, she done good. At this time, I would like to read some remarks by Mom's nephew, Rick Lally. Rick was especially close to Dad. In fact, he had his name changed as a 10-year-old boy to match Richard, my dad's name, because he loved him so much. He thought the world of Uncle Liz. Rick can't be with us today due to health reasons, but he wanted to honor Mom with the following remarks. I've been in this historic church twice before, but due to health reasons, Cousin Richard will stand in for me today. My first time here was 1963. Our country was mourning the tragic loss of the Thresher and the 129 brave men aboard. Among those lost was Uncle Dick, my brothers and my hero. He was loved by so many as their son, brother, husband, father, and friend. Our grief was overwhelming, but somehow we soldiered on. Over the years, my fondness and appreciation for Aunt Liz grew as Lynn and Richard and Susan, the brightest lights of her life. By the way, Sue, he had Lynn, Susan, and Richard. just to be clear, I'm going to clear that up now. These three grew into kind, caring, and competent adults. Finally, we have camp. Fortunately, we have camp, where our growing family reunites year after year. Aunt Liz really loved camp. Indeed, it was at camp in 1965 where Aunt Liz first met Anne Marie and welcomed her with open arms to the family. The love Anne Marie felt from your mother will always warm her heart. My second time in this church was joyful. The year was 1982, and I had the honor of escorting Susan to the altar where she and Rick tied the marriage knot. They met while Rick was a hospital patient in Connecticut, and Susan helped nurse him back to health. How romantic. I heard the stories, they're not that romantic. Over the years, Anne Marie and I would visit the graves of Papa, Nana, my mother, and Uncle Dick. Then we'd drive to Kittery Point and visit Aunt Liz. Aunt Liz now rests next to Uncle Dick in spirit, under the protective shade of a large tree, which I find comforting. Anne Marie and I shall always miss Aunt Liz and relive the many fond memories we have. And with that, I will introduce my sister.
That was wonderful, Rich, and never forget, you're always known as the chosen.
Top reputation.
Good morning. To all of the family and friends who are gathered today, including dear long-term friends Dean and Priscilla Walker, Madeline Lincoln, and her other daughter, Regina Randall Jason. Mom loved all of you. Everyone in this room had such an important part of Mom's life. Mom, you were our rock, the foundation of our family. Your strength to carry on after you lost Dad, as Rich has just mentioned, was amazing. Who your children, your 7 grandchildren, and their significant others, and your new great-grandchild, Teddy, the little doll is right in the audience with his great-grandparents, Ken and Peg Walcott. He is just a doll. And Nana would have loved Teddy so much. And the way every one of you are today is a tribute to you, Mom. You were strong, you were feisty, you were funny, you were compassionate, and always curious about the world around you. It's been over a year since you've been gone. I didn't actually count the days, but 500 something is a lot. I think about you every day and all that you did for our family. Always there to listen and always accepting of everyone, people and pets alike. And in fact, Mom even let our stinky, smelly basset hound Hoover get up on her bed. Your family was your life, and you truly lived for us. You certainly did. From the time we were little, you shared the joys of the world with us. You took us to plays, high school musicals, and Auntie Marguerite, who introduced my parents, was in one of them, and at Trape Academy. The Theater by the Sea, where you had a membership, and Algonquin Playhouse, where we used to go every summer to attend a musical. In fact, when cleaning out Mom's house, she had a lot of stuff in her house, as a lot of you know. We found playbills from Algonquin Playhouse going all the way back to 1965, and we donated those to the Playhouse. You also took each of us on trips. Across the country, we went to New York, and Martha, our cousin, remember that bus trip we took to Niagara Falls, and the bus conked out on the bridge. And she also took me to Paris. It was our first trip to Europe, and we went together. And I'll never forget when we got there. We got into our room, and there was a bidet in there. And Mom and I just couldn't figure out, we were from Maine, what do we know about bidets? We just couldn't figure out what it was. So we thought, was it a foot bath? Do you wash your hair in it? Well, I have to tell you, I think Mom and I did both of those things. Didn't learn about bidets until much later. Another thing that we used to do constantly every summer was our trips to camp. Mom would drive Dad's VW bug, which he had bought to commute into the shipyard, as Rich mentioned, with Mom driving, Bridgeport Nana, Dad's mom in the front seat, Susie and me and our Springer Spaniel Cocoa Bean in the back seat, and little Rich, chosen one, in the jump seat. And we'd all go up to camp, but those are some of the happiest memories that we have had. In fact, we're just completing 2 weeks at camp before we celebrate Michael and Heather's wedding in Waterville this coming weekend. But we are so glad that you were able to be with us, Mom. Up until the year before we last lost you, you were with us at camp. You also had a great sense of humor. One winter when I was visiting you, and I have to tell you, it was so cold and wintry at the end of Falcon Road in that little Cape Cod house. I looked at her and I said, how do you stand it here all alone in the winter? And she looked at me with a straight face and she said, I watch the deer. Well, speaking of laughing, Mom and I just busted into laughter over that one. And then another thing we did, I remember her, we were playing the game Cards Against Humanity at camp. And as some of you know, that can be quite racy. And we're all around the dining room table and Mom's sitting in a chair in the corner. Whenever anything came up that was a little bit racy, Mom was sitting there like, and I looked back and she'd be giggling. She didn't let anything get by her. As I look back on our lives together, I recently realized that you were the very first liberal I ever met. You opened your heart to everyone, as I mentioned earlier. One of my fondest memories is every holiday, Valentine's Day, Easter, Halloween, when we were growing up, Mom would mail cards to her shut-ins, as she called them, older people that were alone. And sometimes for each holiday, she'd send as many as 30 or more cards at a time. And one of the sad things I hate to point out is when, before Mom passed away, about the last 10 years of her life, as many of you know, she had a benign tremor and could no longer write legibly. And that was really, really hard for her because she missed writing to her friends and family. And then when we visited Freiburg, her hometown, another memory, this is when Sue and I were little, thank God not now. You had me and Sue sing to all the older people that you knew. All our songs we learned from Camp Gondola. Mom, that was torture. Sue could sing, I cannot. And I remember on the liberal side, right after Martin Luther King died in 1968, I had a vague memory of Mom bringing home a book of his I Have a Dream speech. And I thought, you know how sometimes you think you make things up? I thought, maybe I made that up, but nope, I found that book in her bookcase when we cleaned out her house. And you always supported women's rights. I remember you attending League of Women Voters meetings, and you were so excited to vote for what we thought at the time would be the first woman president. Mom had many hobbies. She loved local history. She clipped every article from the local paper, reams of them in folders when we were cleaning out. She also, all the articles were history related. She also had an antique evening handbag collection. I have no idea what got her started on that, but she did. And if family members would hold them up, some of us are carrying them today, her and Mom. And one of the proudest things that she did, and we were really proud of her when she left for Atria Senior Living, she gave a presentation to the residents on her handbags with the help of her caregiver, Julie, who was with her for 14 years. And although Mom had told us, I'm never leaving my home, I'm never leaving my home, of 60 years, as Rich mentioned, it did give us comfort that when she did go to Atria, at our urging, or actually we told her it's time, she never complained. She never said, you made me do this, you made me leave my home. And she never saw her home again until a year or two later because she was at Portsmouth Hospital with the flu and we had to whisk her directly to Atria, so she had never went home. She never said a word. But I believe, and my sister and brother and my dear sister-in-law Elizabeth, who helped me settle Mom in at Atria, we all knew she was truly happy there. As Rich said, Mom didn't have an easy life. She had lots of loss, and as we all know, lots of health issues, but she loved and was so proud of her kids and grandkids. She lived for us, and Mom, we will live for you. God bless you. We will meet again someday. We love you, Mom. And now my brother-in-law, Rick, we have Richard speaking up here today, will say a few comments because he was like a son to Mom.
Hey everyone, thank you very much for being here. I came into the family and I felt as loved as Liz's biological children. And if you knew Liz, this is a great day of celebration. It's certainly not a sad day. It's a wonderful day. And we're here to celebrate Liz, Mom, Nana, Aunt Liz, Mama, whatever you want to call her. And if you knew her, I'm sure at some point she said she loved you. I remember getting into the family and she was in the driveway and I heard her say, "Love you." I said, "Mom, who was that?" She said, "The mailman." So that was her. A family of four, Liz with 3 children, with a lot of support and love, but also pulling herself up by her own bootstraps. And now look around, as you've heard, that family of 4 is 15, with the newest member, Teddy, is Mom's first great-grandchild. It was interesting. We live in a world of distractions we can't change. But for me personally, Mom, Liz, Mama, I called her, could always find ways to help us slow down and savor little moments. The small things in life, like sharing smiles, stories, and laughter. Mom taught us that those things in time with family mattered. It really did. Mom believed that just a few simple acts could contribute to something great. We all worked hard, and it was her way of getting us to slow down, to sit with her at the kitchen table, to have a chat. She'd always have a long list of things to do, but always started by sitting down and talking more than anything else, and sharing those stories and appreciating those smiles, the stories, and the laughter. Liz always had a twinkle in her eye, and everybody kept talking about laughter, and we didn't compare notes. That's what I remember most about Mom, is the laughter that she enjoyed, the laughter she brought us, the laughter we brought her, and that laugh that Pastor spoke about. It was there. She was sick in the hospital, and Regina, her 4th daughter, brought her a lemon donut. It's my favorite picture. If you haven't seen it, ask a family member for it. They were just about to bring dinner, and Regina said, "Liz, I got your donut for you, but you're about to have dinner," and she loved lemon, and she got this impish little smile on her face, and she said, "Give it to me." And this picture of her is with this smile, like she just got caught in a cookie jar, and she's loving this donut. So it's the picture that touches me most about Mom. And Liz loved to laugh and made us laugh. And sometimes she was part of the joke, and sometimes the joke was on us. And as she was getting elderly and at camp, she had a hard time getting around, but she wanted to be at camp, as everybody said. And we slept in the room next to her, Susan and I, and she fell out of bed. And I got out of bed, I'm running her over to the room, and she's laying on the floor. And I'm touching her head. She said, "Honey, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just making sure you're not cut." And she said, "How did you know I fell out of bed?" I said, "Mom, it was like a sonic boom." and Sue said, "Is everything all right?" I said, "Sue, come on over. Mom fell out of bed." And she came over. And when I said a sonic boom, Mom and I started laughing so hard. Sue thought we were crying and that something horrible had happened to her. And we were just laughing like 2 old fools on the floor. So that's how I remember Mom. It's just such a great celebration. And I learned a lot. Family means an awful lot to me, and that was through Mom. It was the mother I always wished I had. And for 42 years, a little bit before we were married, she was the mother that I had. So I thank her so much. And I just want to say that through memories and stories and pictures, in my opinion, a person remains alive with us every day. I'd like to conclude by saying, death leaves a heartache no one can heal, but it's love that leaves memory no one can steal. This pops up to me every day, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you all very much, and maybe let's give a hand to Mom and to her. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to say about Liz before we move on? Do you have any little story, a funny little something or other, or no?
I'll break the ice. Quick story about Mom and her sense of humor that you mentioned. We were walking on the Marginal Way a few years ago. She was in her wheelchair. We're going up through, and it's just a nice day. It's a beautiful day, and we had lunch at Barnacle Billy's, and we worked our way through the Marginal Way. Turned around, and we're coming back, and there's a little bit of a hill that goes down, and the drop-off into the ocean is pretty dramatic. And so I'm going very gingerly, and Mom looks back, and she says, "Now's your chance."
Oh, yeah. Anything else?
I'll do one.
Yes, yeah. And
I'll do the one that my mom told me not to tell in front of everyone. My Nana always had all of us in the back of her mind constantly. And every Christmas time or every birthday, she would give us gifts. And she's like, I thought of this immediately. I thought of you when I saw this. And it was always very heartfelt. Well, one time I went to visit her, and she told me, Annie, I got this in the mail, and I thought of you immediately. And I want you to have it. She handed me a male underwear catalog. And I held on to it for a while. I was very, very grateful that she thought of me when she saw it.
Well, thank you all so very, very much. And thank you again for being here on behalf of the family. And I'd like to invite Lucy up if Mrs. Grant.
Oh, you certainly did.
Thank you.
So I remembered this morning that back in 2017, Nana, we thought she had pneumonia. And so I wrote some notes that I wanted to mention, should we have to plan a funeral. So, sorry Zach, that's why I was real snappy with it this morning in the car. And I also forgot a tissue up here, so that's okay. We'll roll with the punches. Stay. I've always been in awe of my dad because of what a great father he's been, even though he grew up without one. He had father figures, but he didn't know what a healthy marriage looked like or what the everyday responsibilities were. And I'm sure no one taught him how to do his taxes, and TurboTax wasn't around. But the fact that all three of Nana's children are amazing parents is a strong testament to her hard work over the years. Statistically, my dad should have great issues. He should have been in jail a couple times. The time where we hear, wait until your father gets home and we cower and hide in our rooms here. Instead, when our mom said no, we'd wait until Dad got home so he could say yes. He was always a softie. In fact, the loudest I ever heard my dad yell was just a few weeks ago when I told him I had signed us up for a foster dog and without telling my parents. He was really stressed out and it was the last thing he needed, but he apologized the next day for his reaction. And of course, he likes the foster dog too. When asked why he was such a gentle, hands-on father who fights for women's rights, his response is always, I was raised by 3 women. Statistically, my Aunt Linny should have dropped out of school. She should be an absent mother and shouldn't be able to hold down a job. Instead, she and I are the only two in the family to have worked for the U.S. Senate and she spent her career fighting for reproductive rights for women across the country. She was always running back and forth between work and daycare to make sure she was spending lots of time with her kids while fighting the good fight. She's a Renaissance woman if I've ever met one. Statistically, my Aunt Susie should be a drug addict who has passed any help from family who stopped talking 2 decades ago. We shouldn't know whether she's alive or dead. But instead, she runs a successful candy business that grows exponentially every year. She spent much of her adult life caring for Nana using her background in nursing and her nurturing nature. She's the most patient person I know and keeps everyone in this family sane, for the most part. And somehow, all of them have married supportive, respectful partners and have raised kind, successful children. We even recently welcomed the newest 18th generation of Desjardins, Nana's great-grandson, Theodore Isaac. Nana always talked to her friends, caretakers, nurses, anyone who would listen about her family. And who could blame her? Her family beat all the odds. Just imagine how she talked about Teddy. She'd be so proud of you, Zacharina. And she'd love you so hard, Teddy. She'd say she wanted to pinch your cheek so hard you cried. On the day she died, Nana told Mom that she was the best daughter-in-law she could have ever had. She was like a third daughter to her. So thank you, Mom, for that. Thank you, Aunt Susie, for keeping us sane when we all feel like we're losing it. Thank you, Dad, for stepping into the grand shoes of someone you've never even met and somehow keeping his spirit alive without ever knowing how. And thank you, Aunt Lenny, for stepping into the greatest shoes of all, our matriarch, Nana. And now I'll read the Serenity Parent. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. What? Do I say amen?
No.
Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Richard and Lynn. Thank you all. We were hoping to have a reception after this service, but the weather had other plans, and then the weather changed its mind again. I blame Liz. I think she brought the sunshine today, and we should have trusted she would. But please do take a moment to say hi to the family as we leave this place. Do take a moment to share a memory if you have one to share. And email and letter writing are always options as well. Before we go, I do just want to say a quick thank you to Billy Bell, our music director, for playing today. The one piece of music that we had requested for this service was from Liz herself. And it's printed in the back of your bulletin. We are not currently having singing in our sanctuary because of the pandemic and all the issues, but after we say a prayer of release and I offer a short benediction, we do want to have Billy play that, and we invite everyone to keep their masks on and sing along with this song if you so choose. I give you a heads up now, because if you're not comfortable, if you don't feel safe in that environment, after I give the benediction, I want you to feel free to stand up and meet us outside. But everyone else is welcome to stay and listen to this closing hymn and to sing along with your mask on if you so choose. And I'm sorry it's so weird, but we are truly doing the best we can. So friends, I do invite you to join me in a short time of prayer as we do what we can to honor Liz's spirit, releasing her from our care into the ultimate care of God. So please pray with me. Holy, mysterious one, we release to you the spirit of Elizabeth Desjardins, your beloved daughter, a lamb of your own flock. We trust she is resting in the everlasting peace of your presence and continuing her legacy of care, love, and laughter in abundance. Empower us to release Liz to your eternal loving care and And help us to trust that you will bring her close to us from time to time, to scare away rain clouds, to greet strangers, to celebrate the ordinary miracles of this world, that we might continue to catch glimpses of the amazing gifts she is still sharing throughout all eternity. We praise you for your love of all creation, a love and connection that cannot be stopped by anything, not even death. Receive these prayers and the concerns of our hearts as we pray together using the words that Jesus himself taught us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, for thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Siblings of faith, go forward from this place with peace and joy, knowing that life continues on beyond these bodies, beyond this world. And every time we open ourselves up to a laugh, to a cry, to a feeling that comes from somewhere beyond us, may we think of Liz and do our best to carry on her legacy. Go forward in love and peace. Or stay here and sing. Amen.
Amen. I was working for your list. No, I'm one of the things that I think